So, welcome to Alaska Jobs Training. If you have any questions along the way, please don't be afraid to ask. I am happy. You can ask in the chat, or you can also raise your hand so that I can acknowledge you. And Sean and Susan, if you see someone that raises their hand and I miss it, just interrupt me and let me know. And I'm going to share my screen. All right, before we just dive right into it, does everyone here have access to Alaska Jobs?
Yes.
Okay. All right, if you do not have access to Alaska Jobs, please let me know so that I can ensure that you have a form. You fill out a complete form, and that form will be sent to the Alaska Jobs help desk to activate you. All right. Can everyone on the call see my screen?
Yes, thank you.
All right, great, 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 great. All right, thank you. I believe that's Amy representing Fairbanks Pipeline. Okay, Michelle, if you'll do me a favor, send me an email to letting me know that you don't have access, and then I'll send that form to you. For those of you that do not have access to Alaska Jobs, what I need for you to do before you fill out the Alaska Jobs account request form is to go to My Alaska and create a separate account for Alaska Jobs. Okay? So you want to create a separate account that's different from your personal so that this does not interfere with anything of your personal information. All right, Amy. So create that and you'll provide that username on the Alaska Jobs account request form. So please make sure to create that account first before you even complete the account request form. I see a question from refs. Go for it.
Hey, Xavier, thank you for doing this. Are you saying that we have to set up a separate My Alaska account to do this? Because I've always attached it to my personal for years.
That is the preferred method. The reason being is we don't want it to interfere with any of your personal. If you've already got it set up to your current account, just leave it as is because we don't want you to create. We don't want to interfere with anything else.
Exactly. Thank you.
No problem. But it is preferred that you create a separate My Alaska account specifically for Alaska Jobs. All right, so let's go ahead and dive right into this. All right, so I'm in the live environment for now, and you'll see me bounce back and forth between the live environment and the test environment because the help desk does not like us to create any live participants or fake participants in the live system. They frown upon that. They hate it. So please, please, if you want to test anything out, let me know, and we will try to get you a test environment to play around with it. But do not create any participants in Alaska Jobs unless they are actual participants in your program. All right, so we typically live in this area where it says menu. All right, any participants that you are going to enter into Alaska Jobs, I like to use the quick assist. And what we do is we type the last name first, comma, first name. This is the live environment. I'm gonna just see if I'm in here. If I'm not, I am, so I can use me for now. So I'm clicking on me. If the participant is in the system, you can just click on their name once you've searched for them, and it will bring you to this screen. You're not gonna do anything on this screen, but you can just take a look and verify any of the information that you see here to make sure that it's the participant that you are going to be working with. All right. The next step, once you have entered or found the participant, is you're going to go to programs. under staff profiles, sometimes when you log in, this might be collapsed like this. And some people panic when they see this screen. Just click on the folder, then click on case management profiles, and then it'll open this section up for you, and click on programs. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go, because we're working with state programs, we're going to click on create agency defined programs. This is where we're going to create our programs for STEP, for ACA, for TVEP, and also for AWIG. So you'll click there, and this is where the help desk will get really upset with me if I create this. So I'm going to switch to the test environment. All right, so on this one, I'll use this one. And I apologize, the test environment is a lot slower than the actual lab environment. Bear with me. There we go. All right, so again, click on the folder next to staff profiles, then click on the folder for case management profile, and then we're going to click on programs. Okay, now I'm going to, so usually this is collapsed a little bit. So I scroll down until I see where I'm under agency defined programs now. We've got some cases here, but we're not going to work with any of the cases that are already created. We're going to create the one for our agency. So I'm clicking on agency defined, create agency defined programs. Doesn't like it's anything, maybe I didn't click, there we go. All right, so this is where I'm going to start entering the information for the participant. This is also the section where you can change the address for the participant if necessary. So remember that each participant must complete a grant or I guess a grant application. If you don't have that grant application, please let me know. It is on our website now, and I'll show you where that is so you can find it on our website as well. I'll do that a little bit later. Everything that has a red asterisk next to it are things that are required. Linda, can everyone still see my screen? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Linda, you may need to log out and log back in if you are unable to see the screen. Okay, so again, everything with the red asterisk is something that is required. Okay, when you enter dates, it is requiring a 2-digit month, a 2-digit date, and a 4-digit year. Yes, Mary Ellen.
Hi, good morning, Xavier. I have a question.
Sure.
When we find a participant that's already in the system, and I don't mean to go backwards, sorry, we can work this out one-on-one later if it's better, but do we not fix the information that shows up before we click on programs if they're an existing participant with a previous entry?
That's a great question. You won't fix that on the main screen. When you get ready to enter their application information, there's another section that allows you to update their information, and it will update that on the main screen after you've entered it. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, so I've spent a lot of time updating that, so I'm sorry if I've ruined a previous database.
No, that's okay. No, you only update that information. You want to verify that it's the participant on that main screen, but you'll update it, and I'll show you that here in just a second because that's going to be the next screen over.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I'm going to enter an application date. I'm just going to click on today since I'm in the application today. If the participant filled out a different application date, you'll put that date here. All right, so again, it requires a 2-digit month, 2-digit date, and 4-digit year. If you enter that date wrong, it's going to bark at you. I'll give you an example. Notice I only put in a 1-digit month. It doesn't like that. It tells me date entered is not a valid format. It's not going to let me do it. So I've got to put in everything. Okay. The LWDB region is the region that your agency is located, not the participant, your agency. Okay. And then the office location is the name of your agency. So I'm at the Anchorage Job Center Midtown, so that's what I'm going to select. Anything that does not have a red asterisk, leave it alone. You don't have to worry about filling that information in. Okay, here I select the type of program that I'm enrolling the participant in. In this case, it's going to be STEP, and I'm going to click Next. All right, Mary Ellen, this is where I was talking about where you're going to update the participant's information. Okay, so let's say the participant moved. I'm going to update it to their current address. I'm going to put the right zip code this time. I just can't type today. I need to go home and try this again. All right, there we go. Okay, I think usually on in the live environment, it will give you an option to copy the address from that you entered above. I'm going to cheat a little bit. Whoops. Okay, again, it's just everything that has an asterisk on there. Now, if you have a phone number for the participant, go ahead and enter that in. If they have an email address for the participant, go ahead and enter that in as well. Because what happens is at the end of the grant year, the participants are going to have a questionnaire sent to them about how the training went. And it's helpful to have that information. And I promise you, they are going to get that email to them. So if you have the email address, please be sure to include that, even though it doesn't have an asterisk next to it. I'm clicking next. Okay, this is pretty much the self-attestation. It says staff information, but it's actually the self-attestation for the participants that you're verifying the information that you've put in so far is correct. All right, you don't have to really do anything but scroll down and click finish. Now, a lot of grantees are actually trying to sign the application here. You don't have to do that. That is not necessary. You just go ahead and click finish once you reach this screen and click on return to grants tab or programs tab. Scroll down and you will see that your information has been entered in. Notice you are not done yet. You are not done yet. We just created the record. We still have information to put. I see a question from Sarah. Go for it.
Hi, Xavier. I want to go back to the part about the LWDB.
Yes.
That should be relate to the address that's on the grant application. Is that correct?
No, the LWDB is the region your agency is in, not the participant.
Okay, that's what I mean. I guess what I want to, so in a future training, you're going to have one of my associates train, and she's actually located in Juneau, but she would still put Anchorage
She will
when
still put Anchorage. Yes.
okay, so that's what I just want to, I want to verify that.
Yeah, and the reason for that, Sarah, that was a great question. The reason for that is if she selects another region, because your main office is in Anchorage, if she selects Juneau region, what's going to happen is she won't see your agency listed in that region. So she won't be able to move forward.
Okay, okay, I'll clarify that with her.
Okay,
Thanks.
no problem. That was an excellent question. All right, any other questions before I move forward? Because I've already given you a lot of information just that quickly. All right, moving forward. Okay, so we still have quite a bit of information to put in. In order to enter the rest information, there's a plus sign underneath the record that you just created. So you'll click the plus sign. All right, and what we need to do is add the act or the service in this case. So we click the plus sign next to activities, enrollment, services, and we're going to create the activity. Okay, so we've already got that they're going to be enrolled in STEP. It's already defaulted to your LWDB region. Again, it's going to make you, it may force you to select your agency's name again. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. All right, so the activity code, I hope you guys can still see. The activity code is the type of training that your agency is providing. This is very important. Whatever educational training services that you have as a provider in Alaska Jobs is the training service that you need to select, especially for STEP in particularly. If you select any other service, you will find yourself halted later. And I'm going to try to remember to explain that a little bit later. All right, so if you have an educational training services that is industry specific training, you'll select that. If it's on the job training, you'll select that. If it's customized job link training, you'll select that. Whatever educational training services your agency has in Alaska Jobs is the one that you will need to select. In this case, I'm going to select industry specific. Okay, so this is another area where a lot of people get confused, and I understand why. Projected begin date is a date the training is scheduled to occur in the future. Okay, that projected, it means it's not occurring right now or has not occurred in the past. So if you're registering someone that and their training is going to begin in November, you will put that in the projected begin date. If the training begins today or has occurred in the past, you will put it in the actual begin date. Does that make sense? This has been very confusing for many people, so I just want to make sure that's clear. All right, projected means it's happening in the future, even though you may have a date for it already. That date might be set, but because that date has not occurred yet, it's projected. Okay. If the training is beginning today or has occurred in the past, then you will use the actual begin date. Same is true with projected end date. Okay, I always tell people to put a future date in there. Um, and the reason I say that is, let's say your projected end date is November 1st. There's a possibility that training date could go beyond that. I encourage everyone to just use the fiscal year end date, June Ju- June 30th, 2024, so that because once that date passed, the system is going to automatically close it out. It's going to automatically close it once that date's passed, and you won't be able to edit at that point. So just don't cross the fiscal year. Use a future date for projected end date, but don't go past the fiscal year. Does that make sense? All right, so in this case, I'm going to say the training is beginning today. It's not letting me do it. Oh, there we go. All right, so one more thing, you don't have to put projected begin date and the actual begin date. Some people are doing that. You don't have to do that. It can just be one or the other. Okay, so if it's projected, you can put the projected begin date. If it's today or in the past, you can put the actual begin date. Yes, Amy. Amy, you had a question? You're still muted if you are speaking. No? Okay, you can type your question in the chat. All right, so again, only one date is required, begin date or, sorry, projected begin date or actual begin date. That is an excellent question. Okay, so for the end date, you're gonna, I suggest in putting for projected end date, putting the end of the fiscal year, June 30th, 2024. Okay, because you can put the actual end date in another place. For the for a class, for someone that takes a class in November and again in March, you actually only need to put them in once. You don't need to put every class that they've taken. So you're only going to put the participant in AlaskaJobs once. Right now, we are not asking you to put them in multiple times or each train that they've taken over the year. Just put them in once, and that shows that you trained that participant for that year. Great. So I'm going to repeat that again. When you have participants, you're only going to put them in once. You don't have to put multiple trainings that they've come to your office to take. You're only going to put them in once. One service is all we need. We know that you trained them. Okay, would you please say again the projected end date rule if it ended before I'm exiting a participant? All right, so I request that you use the end date of June 30, 2024, so that the system doesn't automatically close out your participant. If you put a projected end date, let's say the training started on let's say the training ended, you put a projected end date of November 1st, and now it's November 2nd, it's going to automatically close them out because that date is passed now, and you won't be able to go in and edit that date. You won't be able to edit anything because it's going to automatically close them out. Then you'll be reaching out to us to try to fix it. And sometimes fixing those things in AlaskaJobs creates problems. It's very, very sensitive, and we don't have a lot of permissions on our side. We have to reach out to the help desk to assist us in fixing these things. And because of the intricacies of AlaskaJobs, they tend to balk at making some corrections. So we're trying to make it as simple as possible. Okay, any questions about that? All right, and I'm going to put a projected end date of 6/30/2024. Okay, again, I'm only putting in the information that it is requiring me to put in. Click next. Okay, so let me explain this section here. The provider is typically the agency that is doing the training. Typically, it is the agency registering the participant. Okay, so again, I'm selecting Anchorage Job Center Midtown because that is my location. If you use a different agency to provide training, you can select that agency. I prefer you select your agency, but if you can select a different agency if need be, but just make sure you're on the previous screen that you select the training program that they have in Alaska Jobs. Yes, Amy. And I know you don't have a mic, so I'll wait for you to type your question. Okay, so I've selected the provider, and now it's going to ask for the service courses. These are the oh, that's okay. Amy. These are the training courses that are in Alaska Jobs by that agency. These are the educational training programs. So I only have one. Okay, it's going to complete some of the additional information. All right, so the occupational training code is the actual training the participant provided. Now, a lot of agencies get hung up right here because when they selected the training, the service course, they're here is what they're looking for, the actual training. If you don't see your actual training there, don't worry, do not panic. Just select whatever's there, even if it's nursing and you're doing construction. Just go ahead and select it. Fear not. All right. Because under occupational and training codes, you're going to actually tell me right here the training that they actually received. So I'm going to click on occupational training code. Now, here it doesn't allow me to do it, but oh, yes, it does. So you see where it says select occupational from ONET table? Click on that. It's going to open up another window where I can actually do a search on the training that this participant received. So I'm going to type in construction that I can't spell today. Boy, I'm going to go home and try this again because today I'm struggling. All right, so it's going to give me a list of those things that are related to construction. So I'm just going to select one. I think my brain's on Monday. Okay, didn't like that. All right, there we go. All right. So again, if if the actual training is not listed under service courses or contracts, select whatever you have there because you'll be able to select the actual training under occupational training code. Okay. I'm going to click next. All right, so we don't capture costs in Alaska Jobs for our state programs yet, so don't worry about any costs. And the cost that you see here is what this particular agency decided was the cost for this particular training. Okay, but you're not going to worry about any of these cost tabs. So once you get here, once you start seeing money, we're going to skip the money altogether. You're going to go ahead and skip to the closure information. Okay, did everybody see that? I'm going to go back. This is where I was. I was on the service provider tab. I just completed this information. You can click next. It's going to take you to the information and the cost. We're skipping all of that. So scroll back up to the tabs, click on close your information. All right. Now, I would like to request that everyone, once you enter participant in, I want you to go ahead and close the participant right away. There are a couple of reasons I want you to do that. Number one, all we need to know is that the participant received training from your agency. I know the training may not be completed yet, but we just need to know that you trained this participant. That's all we need to know. We don't need to know how many times they came in throughout the year for training. We just need to know that you served the participant. We'll take care of everything else once the training has been completed. Once the grant year is over, we're going to take it from there. So I'd like to request that you go ahead and close out the participant right away. And this is going to save you time and it's going to save us time as well. Yes, it is going to be the exact same. It's going to be the exact same. The question is closing a participant the same as exiting them? It is for the state programs. Now, for other programs, no, they're not the same. But for STEP, it's the exact same. All right, so the last activity date for this participant, I'm going to say is today. All right, completion code, I'm going to say successfully completed. Don't worry about it, even if they did not successfully complete, that does not matter. That does not matter. You can go ahead and select successfully completed. And then I'm going to click finish. Go ahead, Sarah.
So what happens if they drop the program and they don't even get trained?
That's okay. That's okay. Number one, you'll still get credit for the participant because you did serve them, and that's all we care about. And when we do the research on our end, we will figure that out. We will figure out that something happened that it didn't complete.
Okay.
Okay. So the question is, do we always choose today for the last activity date of the last day of training? Yes, you're going to always choose today as the training because you're going to exit them the same day. You're going to exit them the same day. You're going to when you put the participant in, you're going to do everything the same day. Again, this is going to save you time and frustration, and it's going to save us time and frustration as well. So what has happened in times past, everyone puts in their participants and then they leave them open, right? And then they got to go right back in at the end of the year and then close them all again, close them all out again. That created a lot of frustration for the agencies because they're spending a lot of time in Alaska Jobs, and that was taking time away from their busy day. So if you enter them in and exit them in the same day, it's going to save you lots of time in the long run. And again, all we need to know is that you serve the participant. That's it. All right. The other problem that we were having is when people wait to the last minute, if so many people, if we have quite a few people in AlaskaJobs at the same time, it will slow the system down slower than normal. So we try to avoid that. That's a good question. If you enter them in before, so if your projected begin date has not started yet, then no. If you put a projected start date in that's in the future, it's not going to let you close them out because you have a projected future date in. In a case like that, you'll have to remember to go in and close them out after that start date. That's the drawback there. That means you're going to be spending a lot of time in AlaskaJobs. And that's what we're trying to avoid. Because when grantees wait till the end of the year to close them out, what typically happens is they put the exit date as the date they exited them, which may be the new fiscal year, which means for us, that participant going to show up in both fiscal years, and that's not what we want. So then I have to be the one to go in and correct all of those, which takes a lot of time. No, you cannot. It will not allow you to do that. The question is, can you use the projected date as the last activity date on the closure tab? No, you cannot. It will not let you use a future date as the closure date. It will not let you close them out. So everything has, in order to close the participant, the date has to be either today or have already passed. Otherwise, it will not let you do it. That was a great question. You guys are asking great questions today. I predicted something different. I predicted it would be very quiet. All right. Don't worry about partner programs if you see that. I don't believe that it's in Alaska Jobs for you guys. If your participant earned a credential, you can upload a copy of the credential for the participant, because once they register, or if they've registered for their account in Alaska Jobs, everything that we're seeing, they will see also. So you can actually upload the credentials for them. And basically all you do is click on credential, click create credential. Our question is, could they enter the training day as the same day they enter the participant into Alaska Jobs, since we are only needing? Absolutely. The answer there is yes. So you can enter the training date as today and still close them out. Even if the training has not occurred yet, if you know for sure that you're going to train a participant, you can use today as the training date. Okay, it's going to ask you for the credential received. There's only a few options there. Um, High school diploma, secondary high school equivalency. In most cases, it's either going to be an occupational skills license, credential, occupational certification in most cases. So you select the one that is the most relevant. Okay. And this is where you would upload a copy. You can click on upload, and then you just simply upload a copy of that credential. Okay. And then you click save. Oh, got to put the date that they earned it. And then click save. Oh, it didn't like something. I didn't put the LVVWD region, LVWIA region. I can't talk today. What is wrong with me? All right. Now let's see if it'll let me do it. There we go. All right, and I have one final step. I've entered the credential, and it shows up here. The last step is to exit them. All right, so I click the plus sign for exit, and then I click on create exit outcome. All right, again, whatever date you exit, you can't future date it. You cannot future date the exit. It will not let you. All right, so I'm gonna choose today. It's gonna ask for your one-stop location again. I hope that it doesn't do you the way it's doing me right now. I hope that that defaults for you. All right, exit reason, enrollment period completed, training services completed, or the participant withdrew. Right, right, right. All right, I'm gonna click next. Don't worry about putting employer information in. Just go ahead and click next. And you're gonna click finish. Once you get to the exit, you're done with the participant at that point. Okay. Once it say case exited, I'm gonna make sure right here, you're done at that point. Okay. Any questions about that? Again, that was a lot of information that I just shared with you. Go ahead, Rafs.
Thank you, Xavier. So my question is, if I enter all these applications I'm getting before their class is finished, and then people don't do it, like you did address some of that, then I have to go back and say they dropped out of class. Is that what you're saying?
So I don't think it will allow you to do that. You can try to see if it allows you. I haven't been able to test that part out. Actually, let me see. Let's test right now.
Okay, because that rule you told me about 7 days is putting the pressure on, and the class, I don't even get all the finished classwork, no one who finished until I'm hitting that 7 day mark.
And let me go back. So there's something else that I can show you guys really quick. All right, so let's say you need to edit some information that you just entered. What you'll do is you'll go to your step record or whatever record you created, click on the pencil, and this opens it up to edit the information again. Okay, so let's say I did this wrong. The application date is the 28th. I can change it right here. Okay. Now some of this may or may not be open for you. If you have any issues, just reach out to us and we'll help you with that.
Right. That's what happened when I was emailing you the other day when I tried to do it all ahead of time, and then it wouldn't let me go back and change it because I had exited the participant.
All right, so if a participant withdrew, I'm going to click on the date of the exit. Dropped out of activity. Let's see if it allows me to save it. It does. So that's where you can tell me that they dropped. Go ahead, Sarah.
So I have a problem with the 7-day date because by the time the instructors send me the applications, it may be more than 7 days. And I really don't want to have to go back to them and say, oh, well, now you have to change the date because you didn't get this to me within 7 days.
All right, now that's a rule that I cannot change. It is that is a AlaskaJobs rule, and that is because a lot of grantees are waiting to the 9th hour to get their participants in, and it's creating problems because we have reports that must be pulled out of AlaskaJobs, especially for the federal programs. And if the grantees are waiting to the 9th hour to get those participants in there, it is putting it is putting our reports on hold or making us delayed on our reporting. We have performance measures that we have to meet also, and that is creating problems on that end. So that is something I cannot fix.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to let them know that they have to get them to us within 7 days.
All right, and someone did ask about the 7-day rule. What is happening is we just recently learned that something changed in AlaskaJobs where participants have to be entered in within 7 days of beginning their training. All right, so let's say the start date was July 30th. You would have had to have entered them by 7 days after that, August 6th. You have to August 6th to get the participant entered in to AlaskaJobs, or you have to use a different date, which could be a data validation issue. Okay, and again, the reason for that 7 days, not business days, 7 days. And again, the reason for that is a lot of grantees, again, especially for federal reporting, a lot of grantees have been waiting until the very end. That they wait until they have a lot of applications entered, and they'll spend the time then entering their data. But it was putting us behind on a lot of our reporting requirements, making us delayed on those reports, and we were getting findings because of it. So in order to offset that, we had to, or the AlaskaJobs help desk had to implement that rule. I know that it puts many of us in a bind, but that's something that I cannot change at this point. We can enter more days before then their training, right? You can't enter them before the training starts. I recommend that you do that if possible, but if you cannot, please try to get them entered in at least by uh, as close to that starting date as possible. I know that 7 days is a culture shock. It, trust me, it was a culture shock for me too, but I do understand why it was implemented. I see someone's typing. Go ahead.
I just wanted to inject here. You know what a hard time I've had with this, and this might help other people. I have usually a liaison with my client who's providing the training, and I email them the blank applications telling them if they want our discount with the grant, they have to get these into me. And so they go and make sure all the participants fill them in, and then they email them to me. So I usually am having them now before the training starts, if that helps anyone out there.
All right, great, great. That's a great way to resolve that issue. Some are having an issue where they have trainers having the participants fill the application out, and they're having a hard time getting the applications from the trainers timely. I don't know how to resolve that issue. Okay, we still have a few things to learn. Some people want to learn how to do the reporting. But before I show you the reporting, I want to show you how to enter a participant who doesn't show up in AlaskaJobs. So you do a search on the participant and their name doesn't show up. So let me search Mickey Mouse. And let's just see if Mickey Mouse is in the system. Somebody put Mickey Mouse in the system. Who in the world? Oh, not really. Not Minnie Mouse too. Oh my gosh. All right, I found someone that's not in here. All right, so we're going to enter SpongeBob into the system. He's not there. All right, so what I have to do is on the same menu, I scroll down until I get to Manage Individuals, click the arrow, and what I have to do is click Create an Individual because SpongeBob is not in my system. You're going to get two options. You're going to get comprehensive registration and register with a resume. I encourage everyone to please use register with a resume. Reason being is you're going to get one screen of information. That's it. It's only give you one screen. If you have a participant's resume, use this option. If you don't have a resume for the participant, use this option anyway. Okay. All right. So let's register with a resume. Actually, before I even do that, let me show you why I don't want you to use the comprehensive registration. If I click on this, it's going to ask me a bunch of information that I don't have. Okay, and then I got to go next. That means there's another page after this. Once I get to that page, it's going to say next again. So I got to enter more information. And then once I finish that page, it's going to say next again. So just in this section alone, you're going to spend 15 to 45 minutes. So avoid this at all costs. So I'm going to go back because I don't want to do that. I just don't. So we're going to click register with a resume. That way I only have one page to complete. All right, so I encourage everyone to create a blank file, save it on your desktop or any place that you can access quickly. Name the file Alaska Jobs Resume. Okay, and there's mine. All right. Again, it can be blank. You don't have to put anything in it. Again, but if you have the resume of the participant, go ahead and use it because, excuse me, what it will do is if there's any information in that resume, it will pre-fill some of the fields for you. That is the one feature I do like about Alaska Jobs. Bear with me, I'm in a test environment. It is a lot slower than the other environment. All right, so they broke it again. So usually after you do, I can do this in a live environment. Just 1 second. We're not really creating anyone. I'll show you here in a live environment. I might have missed it. Uh, this system is very sensitive, everyone. All right, here we go. Manage individuals, arrow, create individual, register with a resume. All right, hopefully we'll have a little bit more success. There we go. All right, so it's going to ask you for the information for the participant, the first and last name. If the participant doesn't want to provide their social security number, it's okay. Click I do not wish to provide my social security number. You'll get a pop-up message that tell you if you don't provide it, they won't be able to get services. Go ahead and click OK to that message. But it is helpful to have that information if they choose to provide it. Okay. If they choose not to provide their social security number, we must at least have their date of birth. Okay. Socials are preferred. However, if they choose not to use their social, they must at least provide their date of birth. Okay. I forget, I'm in a live environment, so I'm not going to create that person. All right, again, it's going to ask for the phone number. It's going to ask what country they're in. The application does ask about homelessness. If they're homeless or not, go ahead and check yes or no. Enter their address information. The date of birth is going to be required at this point. Select their gender. You may not have information about their military, military background, especially their spouse. Uh, whatever information you don't have on this screen, check the best, closest answer that you know of. Don't worry about putting incorrect information here. All we're needing to do is create the participant so that you can enter the information for their STEP program. All right, so Sean just identified, put a statement in the chat to help out. If they do provide a social security number and they have an AlaskaJobs account that uses that same social security number, it will not let you create a new account. So the best example I can give is sometimes if you're working with a woman, her name may change. She may give you a different name than what she has in AlaskaJobs. She may have her maiden name in there. You put in her married name and you can't find her. You go to create her, then it's going to say, we have something on that social security number already. And you're going to be confused. Your mind's going to be like, I just tried to put her in and it didn't let me. What's going on? Try searching them by their social security number instead. Once you search by the social security number, it'll pull the person up at that point because that person does have an AlaskaJobs account. That has happened a couple of times for me. All right. Even though there's a red asterisk next under occupational title, you can skip that part. You don't have to put the occupations in. All right, then click Save. This is all the information you have to provide to get their account created. Even though you're creating the account for the participant, when the participant goes to create their own AlaskaJobs account, it's going to pull this information in and they'll be able to edit their information. You're not doing anything illegal if you don't know information about the participant. Okay, so please don't think you're doing anything illegal. You're not, I promise. All right. Any questions about this? This is how you create the participant so that you can enter their information in to create their service. Okay, let's show you how to pull a report to get a list of the participants that you have. All right, so you just got all your participants entered and you want to see how many people you have in. What you'll do is you'll click on menu like I just did. You're going to scroll down to reports. You're going to go to detail reports and click the arrow. And you want to click on case management reports. Okay, under other case management reports, you'll see there are several other types of reports you can pull. Click on the arrow next to case status. Click on the arrow next to case load. And then click active cases. Now, this has recently changed. It wasn't this much clicking before. I'm not sure why the need for so much clicking, but it is what it is now. Click on active cases. All right. Make sure to select the program that you're working with. In this case, I want to look at STEP. All right. The next thing you want to do is select the region that you're in. If it's not defaulted, I'm going to select the Anchorage Matsu region. Okay. Next, you're going to select your agency again, only if it's not defaulted. I'm going to select the Anchorage Job Center Midtown. And then I'm going to scroll to the bottom and click date range. And I'm going to put current program year. This will show me all the participants that I have entered for this fiscal year. Now, if you want to look at a specific time frame, you can change the dates here in the from and the to. So if you just want to look at one particular month, you can put those dates in. All right, I'm going to click Run Report. All right, so as the Job Center, there are 39 participants. So it shows you the active cases that we have, that you have for the current fiscal year, and it shows you the number of cases that you have exited. All right, so hopefully you're entering them in and exiting them at the same time. So these numbers should equal each other. If you're waiting for a later time to exit them, then you'll see it like this. You'll have more in your active cases and then less in your exited cases. If you want to see the participants, just click on the number under active cases because you'll still see the exited ones. And it gives me a list of all the participants that I have. Okay. Now, if you have more than 30 or so, what you'll want to do, there'll be something up here that, like in this case, click the arrow up there to go to the next page, or click this little button here, the disk, and you can export this data into your preferred format, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDF, and it's going to look exactly the way it looks on the screen in AlaskaJobs. Okay. All right, any questions about pulling a report? Okay, so just FYI, this is the screen that we use to compare to your progress report. So the number of participants that you indicated that you're training in the progress report, this is where we come to see if those numbers match. Okay, so if it asks for the number of participants you trained to date, this is what we're looking at. Now, that might be true by the time you submitted the report. When you may have added more, that's okay to add more. But if you've added less, or not added less, if there's less than what you claim in your progress report, we're going to reach out to you and say, hey, we noticed that you said you trained 40, but we only see 20. Um, can you share more details? Typically, when a person has less, they have forgotten to enter the service. If you don't put a service in for the participant, it's not going to show up on this report. So please be sure to enter the service. Okay. I'm going to show you something that most people don't know about AlaskaJobs. So let's say I enter something wrong. What most people typically do is they click the back button after they've uh, created the report. Don't do that. And you're going to do it anyway. I already know it because we're so used to clicking the back button, you're going to do it anyway. But let's say I just want to update this. I want to change the date. I want to look at last year's information. Instead of clicking the back button, if you click the back button, it's gonna refresh everything that you just put in. If you click update search criteria, it'll take you back to where you were. Everything that you put in is gonna remain the same. I still have STEP there. I still have my region selected. I have my agency name selected, and my previous dates are still there. All I need to do is change my date range. So I'm going to look at the previous program year. So it'll automatically change and I can run the report again, much rather than put all the information in again. So now I'll be able to see what I did last year. So now I'm going to click on my active cases again. And now I can see all the participants I had last year. Now, if I click back, well, in this case, it did go back and only thing that changed is the program year in this case. But typically it refreshes everything. You have to do it all over again. So try not to click back. All right. It made me a liar, which I'm glad it did. No, that's nice, but it typically erases everything and I have to put it all in again. Okay. All right, so let's open the floor for questions. Is there something that you guys want me to show you that I have not shown you already? Don't be afraid to ask a question. I see a question coming. Great question. What do I do if the application is older than 7 days? I don't know the answer to that question yet. I honestly don't know the answer to that question yet. I'm hoping that you'll be able to get them in before the 7 days. Here's what I suggest. Try to see if you can backdate it to the date that you entered them in. See if it will allow you to do it. And if it doesn't, reach out to me or any of us, and then we'll see what we can do to help out. That was a great question. Yeah, see, sometimes it does allow you to do things that you normally couldn't do. Now, real important, guys, real important. When you exit a participant, please make sure you don't exit them for a date beyond the fiscal year. That is very important because that participant is going to show up in 2 fiscal years. So exit them, even if you exit them after the due date, or after July 30th, June 30th, make sure you put the exit date as no later than June 30th. That's really important. Bec- yes.
Okay, so I saw where we were finishing and all those dates, and then there's the exit outcome date. And you said always put the projected end date as the last day of the fiscal year, June 30th,
Uh-huh.
2024. But all of mine are ending, now, this month, next month. So is that going to be okay? The last activity
That
date then?
the last activity date is the date that they're actually exiting out. So the projected end date is the date that you're projecting that they'll end. But if you end them sooner, that's okay. It's okay to end them sooner. When you put the projected end date, though, keep in mind it's going to, if that date passes, it's going to close out that participant automatically. So that's why I
Okay, so
said use the June 30th.
if I start using June 30th, even if it's October the 5th, I'm not gonna crash and burn, right? It's all gonna be okay.
You're not gonna crash and burn. No, not at all.
Okay.
No. All right. Any other questions that I can answer for you guys? Don't be afraid to ask any questions. I don't like her background right now. I do not. I do not like that background because it's telling me that winter is on the way. So no, they're not gonna like that background. Everyone is forbidden to like Susan's background. All right, guys. If there are no other questions, thank you all so much for being here. I'm going to hang out a little while to make sure there are no other questions that someone was afraid to ask. And I will make this training available online a little bit later today. If not today, Monday for sure. Yes, I do like Sean's background. I could go there anytime. You all are welcome. Thank you so much. Oh, guys, really important. I forgot. I cannot believe I forgot this. Before you leave, the one thing I want to make sure everyone understands is when you log in, when you get your Alaska Jobs account, please do not forget to sign in at least once every 30 days. If you do not, it's going to deactivate you. It is going to deactivate you, and then you'll be reaching out to me wondering what in the world just happened. You have to sign in once every 30 days, or the system will deactivate you. So please sign in once every 30 days. That's a good idea, Mary Ellen. If you sign into eGrams, go ahead and sign into Alaska Jobs right then. All right, guys. That's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, go ahead and feel free to ask. I'm hanging out until um, there are no other questions. And thank you so much again for attending. And I still have a couple of people here. Do we have any questions? No. I see someone typing. Oh, I don't think so now. It was gone. Everyone's gone. Alrighty, well, I'm going to go ahead and end if there are no other questions. Thanks again, everyone.